This is recording now.
Oh my God.
And we have the new theme song, right?
Oh, yeah. I think we have the new theme song.
I think we committed to that. So here, this is the beginning of the episode now.
I haven't actually heard this. Well, other than when I was there.
You heard it live.
Yeah.
It is a podcast talking politics, speaking slow and fast. Justin's the host. He does the most. Evan's the sidekick, secondary host.
That's not too bad. All right, I'm going to stop halfway through. Evan, do you think we should use this permanently?
No.
No? You don't? You think we should use this instead?
So, but that's classic. That's iconic now, I think.
All right, we'll
but
keep
it's not
using
really
the
my.
old
It's
one.
not really my choice. I don't really have any. I mean, I would like you to consider my opinion, but I don't think
Your opinion
you should
matters.
leave it. You should post a poll. Yeah, you should post a poll.
Yeah. There's two options in front of us. Use the original theme music, which you're hearing now. It's just wrapping up. Or use the new song that we wrote together on air
But
last
if you
week.
do it, you can't just cut it out at the first verse. You have to you have to play the entire song.
Yeah, true.
And then maybe again at the end of the episode, just for good
hang on.
measure.
Okay, well, let's start it up again. Let me bring the fader back up. Okay, and so I skipped the second verse. That was about here. Make sure we get the whole thing in.
I like that we're also overdubbed over the...
From the pig shit state, here in the heartland, a Johnson County supervisor wants the show banned. Local riders better run and hide. Rock hard Caucus gonna tan your hide.
Spank. You got the reverb on
Oh, you
there?
hadn't heard it with the reverb.
No,
yet,
I hadn't heard the reverb. I hadn't heard the post-production magic that you put into it.
Yeah, I do think second half is better than the first half of that. Yeah. But we still like this better.
I mean, I would say so, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's people have grown accustomed to it.
Yeah, we gotta
Maybe
get
we should
really
do the
into.
poll.
Yeah, it's content strategy.
Yeah.
This show is all about the content.
Yeah,
You have to maintain brand consistency. You can't just switch the theme
You think
song.
that's too abrupt of a change to shift
people
from like
won't
the
know what they're listening to.
instrumental pop punk to like the
Yeah, they'll have no idea.
Casio tone,
Omnichord.
almost improvised lyrics.
Yes, definitely. I think you can safely say they were improvised lyrics.
We wrote them down.
You wrote them down while we were doing it.
Yeah. It's like one step past improvising, I think. Okay, let's catch people up. This is Rock Hard Caucus. This is a show about Iowa, the state of Iowa in the United States of America. Evan and I are nearly lifelong residents of Iowa. You are lifelong.
I'm a lifelong resident. I've never left the
I had
state.
a brief, what would you call it? A brief period of exile?
No, well, you weren't born in Iowa.
I was born in Iowa.
Oh, you were. Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Sioux City.
Oh, okay.
And then
but
we
then you
were in Lincoln.
immediately retreated back to Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, my dad grew up in Sioux City. So his family's there. I was born there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left for greener pastures in Lincoln, Nebraska for a few years. And then it turned out the greenest pastures were in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yes, that's kind of similar to my family history. I actually was born in Iowa City.
Okay.
Which is
one of those hospital
near
babies.
where we are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we could tell people that. Should we reveal our location?
Coralville, Iowa.
Which is always my location when we
Yes.
do the show. Almost always. This is the first time that Evan has been here to record an episode.
Correct.
Yeah. So we're doing this live from the living room.
Yes.
We've done a few of these in your living room.
Yes, we
but
have.
not my living room.
Correct.
Yeah. And we're here. Evan's going to try Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero Sugar.
I have, yes. Justin provided me with a Mountain Dew Zero Baja Blast, which I've never tried.
Yeah.
Nor the original.
If you listened last week, he's never tried any Baja Blast at all. Despite it being around for 20 years, he had plenty of opportunities.
I'm not really much of a soda guy. Honestly, I mostly stick to Diet Pepsi. That's the best.
Yeah, people are going to hear that and just be sickened, I think.
No, I'm sorry. Diet. Okay. I basically have been drinking Diet Pop for most of my life, and it is pop, not soda.
Yeah, that's right. We agree on that for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think regular Coke is better than regular Pepsi, but Diet Pepsi is better than Diet Coke.
I think you told me that before.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
This might be controversial, but
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It tastes... I think I'd prefer regular Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I think in general, I do as well.
We're joined here with my girlfriend, Allie.
She's here.
She doesn't have a mic.
Miceless.
We have,
Women not allowed.
No, she's allowed. She didn't want a mic. What do you like? Do you like the Baja Blast? She says the OG's better.
Yeah. Yeah. You did make a little bit of a face when you tried that. All right. Let's get into the topics of the day. This is a news program, sort of.
Yeah. You could call it that.
One of the subjects we've been following along with for the past couple months is Woodbury County supervisor and his wife. Jeremy Taylor is the county supervisor. His wife's name is Kim. She was recently sentenced for a crime that she committed.
Yes.
52 counts of that crime, if my memory serves. She was stealing votes for her husband.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever quite untangled exactly like what the result of her massive voter fraud was.
Not much.
Like it seemed like he was going to win.
It was
easily
like 20 votes
anyway, right?
I think maybe that might have been affected by it.
Yeah. So what's particularly kind of gross about the crime is that I forget if she is a Vietnamese immigrant or just is a descendant of Vietnamese immigrants, but so she's like in good with the Vietnamese community of Sioux City, and so she was sort of taking advantage of their lack of knowledge about like how voting works in America, and was like registering their kids to vote and then filling out ballots for them. Yeah. It's not good to do that.
No, like I said, it's like a literally like small town insurance agent scheme to like forge people's signatures on, or I guess it's not forging signatures, but.
Right. She did have them sign it.
Yeah.
I think.
Wait, did she? I don't know.
Well, no, because they caught it because the handwriting was the same.
Whatever. Either way. It's just so low stakes. Like, well,
but yeah, she was doing.
It is still a very serious federal crime.
Yeah, it's a federal crime. She was on trial by a federal judge. Okay, so I pulled up this article from the Sioux City Journal, which came out just yesterday, written by Matthew Ung, who is himself a Woodbury County supervisor, so one of Jeremy Taylor's colleagues. He wrote this sort of op-ed piece about the situation, the sentencing in particular. The headline of this is, Taylor sentencing sends wrong electoral message to nation.
The nation.
So there's a little bit of context provided by the editors of the Sioux City Journal at the top. Chief U.S. District Judge Leonard Strand on April 1st sentenced Kim Taylor to a rare split sentence, 4 months in federal prison and 4 months of home confinement. Taylor, the wife of Republican Woodbury County Supervisor Jeremy Taylor, had faced up to 5 years in prison on each of the 52 counts of voter fraud. So 5 years per.
50 years.
Right.
In prison.
So
over 250 years.
That was on the table. I think that would have been overkill myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's going to prison. 4 months in prison, 4 months of home confinement. I'm not a big fan of prison. But the vibe of this article is that this was a very light sentence for the crime.
Yeah, I don't think prison is really necessary for that one. I think we talked about, good old public humiliation and shaming, and maybe, you'd think that maybe her husband might want to like step down after such a...
I believe he still hasn't.
Yeah, I think others have asked him to.
Right, they've been asking him to for a long time.
Yeah.
like since she was charged with the crime.
And then the whole other thing with him, like, having a different registered address right. in the county than where he actually lives.
Mm-hmm. His campaign relied on him living in an empty house to be in the district. So, this guy, Matthew Ung, thinks that this is too light of a sentence. and I guess I'll let him speak for himself.
Now, Rob Taylor's a Republican.
Jeremy Taylor. But
Jeremy
yes,
Taylor. Matthew Ung is
also a Republican.
Also a Republican.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
All right, so let me just read what Matthew says. A very large downward variance from the recommended sentence. That's in quotes. He's quoting the judge. Those words, a characterization... Oh, sorry. He's quoting the defense attorney. I should have just kept reading. A characterization by Kim Taylor's defense attorney to local media have been on my mind. So too has the phrase general deterrence, both from the federal prosecutors and U.S. District Court Judge Leonard Strand.
I don't think she's going to do it again. If I had to wager, I don't think she's going to do it again.
I think she's maybe been deterred, but I think his concern is that such a light sentence doesn't deter others from doing what she did. Somebody else could decide to exploit an immigrant community in their own town, and do
no gain,
pointless mass voter fraud, and they'll know in the back of their mind, I'm only going to serve 4 months in federal prison if I get caught. So what's the big deal?
Yeah. 4 months in prison. I mean,
that's 4 months when you're not at home. That's still pretty bad, right?
I spent 2 days in prison. Jail.
Yeah.
Wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
4 months sounds pretty horrible.
And that was not a federal prison.
No. Well,
what?
I don't know. There's different. Some people say federal prisons are better than. I mean, like county jails are bad because you don't have access to like any recreational, or any like programs or anything. You're basically completely confined. Federal prison or prisons in general, you can go outside, but then I don't know how I'm sure it stacks up poorly compared to federal prison, but
yeah, prison's bad no matter what. I think
it is very bad.
I would rather not be in there.
Right.
So far, I've managed to not be thrown in there.
Yeah.
A very large downward variance from sentencing guidelines is not going to deter anyone. 4 months in a Waseca, Minnesota, low security federal prison. Waseca? I don't know. Waseca. I don't know what that place is.
Nope. No idea.
Anyway, Waseca, Minnesota, low security federal prison, which markets an award-winning cosmetology training program, isn't going to deter any bad apples in either the Trump or Biden camps during the 2024 election.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is his take, is that this is a low security federal prison. I think in Office Space they call that a low security federal resort prison. You remember that?
Vaguely.
As opposed to the pound you in the ass prison, something like that. So there's a cosmetology training program. Award-winning is how they market the low-security federal prison in Waseca,
I don't think
Minnesota.
prisons should be marketed.
Yeah, market?
That's, I mean, they are marketed, especially to, like, small communities.
Right.
Like,
this will
revitalize your economy,
It's creating jobs.
Yeah, your industrial base is moved out, so now we're just going to make you all prison guards now.
Yeah, what is he implying there? They market the prison as an award-winning cosmetology training program.
Also, you don't get a choice.
Right. There's like billboards like, hey,
I think
come to cosmetology school in prison.
I think they like give you like a form that you fill out that's like, I would prefer to be closer to my family. And then they're like, we'll consider that or we won't.
Right. It's
as a prisoner,
where's the room?
You don't really have very many rights.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's the thing that they take away from you. It's kind of like a very severe punishment in itself, and doesn't really you don't need any of the other like punishment aspects of it.
Right.
Just depriving someone of their freedom.
Right.
It's a pretty awful thing.
Yeah. You shouldn't be allowed to study cosmetology in prison.
No, you should be able to study cosmetology in prison. Actually, they should also have video games. Yeah, I know that's a controversial opinion.
Do they not have any video games at all?
I think they actually do. Like they have like tablets in a lot of places that have like mobile games and stuff on.
Oh yeah, I saw someone on Twitter got like a prison laptop.
Yeah,
and was like trying to jailbreak the OS.
Yeah, and then they're all like clear plastic, so like they can't tamper
smuggle
it with
shit
it.
inside. Yeah, they still live in the 90s in prison when it comes to cool technology.
Yeah, I know. They really need to bring back clear plastic electronics.
Yeah.
Like my old Game Boy Pocket.
The big iMacs.
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the IMAX. Forgot
Atomic
about that.
Purple. That was the Nintendo Clear Purple.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. We don't have to speculate whether or not the verdict and sentence in this case have national attention. They do.
Do they? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only really been reading local reports on this, but I'm sure there's like a Washington Post article somewhere. In a spiritual sense, the federal courthouse right here in Sioux City, Iowa, has opened a door for other unprecedented cases, i.e., over 52 guilty counts, across the nation, provided any defense counsel can argue over-exuberance and excessive excitement for Trump or Biden played a role. So that's funny that that's part of the defense. But when it's your husband who's the candidate, it makes sense for you to be
she has a
overly
clear motive.
exuberant.
Yeah.
Excessively excited.
A clear motive, but again, I don't know. It's kind of she had a lack of faith in her husband to win on his own merits. You know?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they're punishing a wife for loving her husband too much.
Really? Yeah. I mean, just for trying to steal some votes from people who didn't know what was going on.
Right. Yeah. They weren't going to vote anyway. This is a net positive.
They thought that's just how it works.
More votes.
Yeah.
More people voting means a healthier democracy.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting point. Like, if they knew the other, like if they knew what they had to do to actually vote and she just helped them do that,
right?
Like, would they still have voted for him? Like, I'm sorry, like,
well, maybe.
Voting, that's like, it's not that hard to vote. I mean, they make it harder, obviously.
Yeah, especially this was the legacy of Steve King. Like, they don't provide voting instructions in other languages.
Yeah,
but English.
And obviously the whole ID requirement is restrictive and stupid, in my opinion. But like, it's not that hard to vote still.
Yeah,
especially if you're like, have documentation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is like we're living in the shadow of a Steve King, Chet Culver collab to keep voting materials in English only.
Oh, okay.
I think it was when Culver was governor.
No, I was just thinking because I know that they didn't have real ID requirements until I think like 2016 or 2018 maybe.
Yeah, but the non-English voting materials, it's like
that's
in the state constitution maybe.
Really?
I don't know. I remember reading about it when we were doing Steve King's book with Gavin. But yeah, this type of thing is possible because we don't provide voting instructions in immigrants' native languages.
Yeah.
Granted, in the Taylor situation, considering the small fortune it probably cost them in legal fees, the process was the punishment. Okay, so he acknowledges that. But perhaps the reader can entertain a purely hypothetical situation where a bad actor in the Trump or Biden campaigns might have more money than a Woodbury County supervisor and their spouse. So this is opening the door for some rich Trump or Biden enthusiast to also steal the votes of 52 immigrants.
That's such a funny view of like electoral politics. As if they need to do that. Like if someone has enough money, like after, Citizens United, all this shit about, Koch brothers and God knows, George Soros for this guy. I'm sure he's, does he mention George Soros in that article?
No, unfortunately.
Cause I guess he would have mentioned him there if he was going to, but
a purely hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's think about that. A purely hypothetical situation where somebody with a lot of money can influence an election.
United States politics.
Purely hypothetical. I attended the sentencing. The last time I was in that courtroom was 2016 when my wife became a U.S. citizen, born in Honduras. Judge Strand kindly allowed me to address my wife and the other immigrants, which ranks among my proudest moments. So being there on April 1st was even more surreal. It was like a Fool's Day prank. He didn't say that. There is no parallel to the structure and decorum you witness in a federal courtroom. I haven't been in a federal courtroom myself, so I can't speak to that. But I'm sure the structure and decorum is second to none.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that there's a lot of guys with guns there, too.
A heavily enforced structure and decorum. The last 1% of it turned it all to gloss.
What?
So I think, he was very impressed by the structure and decorum of the federal courtroom, but the the last 1% of the trial, so the sentencing, turned it all to gloss.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So
it ruined my whole experience watching my coworker's wife on trial for a federal crime. I was having a great time until she got a light sentence. Yeah. And then they ruined the whole experience.
I got really
for
excited when they said they were going to punish this woman, but then when they didn't do it enough, then that really pissed me off.
God, I could have gone home, told my family what a wonderful time I had in federal court. They just had to tarnish the whole experience. Only 4 months in federal prison. She gets to go to an award-winning cosmetology training program.
And then, 4 months of confinement in your home too. That sucks ass too.
That's not great. Yeah,
I think that's more than enough punishment.
Yeah, I mean, presumably she has to do some other shit, like probably some kind of
monetary fine.
Yeah, fine, maybe some. See, I was
community
thinking
service.
I was thinking like give her a pretty heavy like community service requirement.
Yeah. Why doesn't she work with someone who does register people to vote? Yeah,
just like do what she was doing, but in a legal,
Are
less
there any
exploitative
organizations
way.
that do that now that Acorn doesn't exist?
Yeah, make her start her own local Acorn.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a woman. League of Women Voters often registers people to vote, right?
Yeah.
I'm deeply discouraged as a county supervisor and, in a small but undeniable way, ashamed as an American. I saw a family that aspired to the halls of Congress held to a lower standard. Holding oneself to a higher standard doesn't come automatically. It takes extra work. How does a very large downward variance inspire me or anyone else serving the public to put in any extra effort?
What?
Held to a lower standard than who? I mean, I feel like I kind of get what he's saying. Like, this is a powerful political family and they're getting a light sentence.
Yeah.
Because of their high position in the community.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, like, do you really have a direct comparison to work with?
No.
Like,
it doesn't really. It's kind of a...
Yeah.
It's more of an oddity and an interesting case than it is like any...
It's hard to compare this to anything else. There's not really like a poor person who did 50 counts of voter fraud who got a harsh sentence or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the real thing is like, this Jeremy Taylor guy, like, I'm sure he was in on it. Like, he had to have been in on it.
Yeah.
And he got off completely scot-free.
Yeah, so far, nothing. I mean, I hope... I don't know. I guess I don't hope, because, like, again, this, like, punitive shit isn't actually going to help anything.
No, he shouldn't be in a fucking public office.
Right,
I mean,
he should
like,
resign.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, like, I imagine more charges are coming.
Yeah, and he's probably... I mean, are people going to vote for him again?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a board of supervisors seat. It's not like... I mean... We do spend a lot of time talking about board of supervisors on this podcast.
Yeah, we more than anyone.
But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's like probably like going to be an easy decision to replace someone who's like in the news all the time for weird indiscretions.
Yeah, you would think that a county supervisor who repeatedly is in the news for like something like this, or like if they're like making inflammatory statements about like marginalized groups at the county supervisors meetings, you know, you'd think that might have some effect on their electability.
You would hope.
Go to the Rock Hard Caucus YouTube
I guess
page,
we'll see, won't we?
There's some videos there you may want to see if you live in Johnson County, Iowa, at the Rock Hard Caucus YouTube page. The only new information at the sentencing was that the defense called the adult son to the witness stand. The adult son.
The adult son.
The adult son. The premier adult son.
Is he also a nephew?
Sioux City. You know, I don't know that they mention any siblings of either the mother or the father. I would imagine the adult son is also an adult brother. Adult cousin, yeah. They probably got a big old family over there. Okay, so the adult son, he did a fine job making the case that a mom in the house is important. No argument there. I mean, it's probably good to have her in the house, right? But in an awkward moment, when asked by defense counsel, he couldn't remember or didn't know his grandma's name, who lives in the home. Is this necessary to include in your piece, Matthew? I mean, it is awkward and kind of embarrassing, but like, what relevance does this have to the crime and the sentencing?
Yeah.
It is weird, but yeah. It seems like just trying to shame the family for something kind of unrelated. You don't need to know your grandma's name. Her name is Grandma. Did you know your grandma's names growing up?
I did, yes.
Yeah. I guess I did, but only because when we would talk about my grandparents, I would need to specify which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I knew my dad's mom's name was Linda, because she was Grandma Linda.
Yeah, well, I did that, but my family it was Grandpa Jones and Grandpa Vaughn, so I just refer to them by maiden name.
Right. So you didn't know? Did you know their first names?
I did know their first names.
Okay. How did you know?
Because my parents told me.
Okay. Did you know your parents' first names?
Or they introduced me when I was born, and I remembered.
Do you want a mic? Okay.
Ashley wants a mic.
I definitely do not.
No? I don't know if the mic picked that up. Could you say it louder?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. So that's a contribution from...
I don't believe that.
I don't know anything about it.
We're talking about voter fraud.
Yeah, we don't know anything about anything either. That's why we're podcasters.
Everything I know.
I'm not editing shit. Okay, so the adult son did not know his grandmother's name. At that point, I thought, why didn't they call Jeremy? Call the dad.
Yeah.
Have the man of the house maintain his wife's innocence. Have him say literally anything. Yes, I'm aware of the retort that silence is warranted because he wasn't formally charged, which is ironic when you notice he was as silent throughout the process as someone who was charged would be.
What is this hypothetical?
Yeah,
like,
are you questioning the right to remain silent?
for someone who wasn't charged with anything? Like,
Right, yeah. I mean, he should resign, but
yeah.
keeping your mouth shut is absolutely the right move
Yeah, 100%.
when you're in this
There's
situation.
no reason. There's zero reason for him to do that.
Yeah. I am curious. So
I also like the idea.
well, you can't compel a husband to testify against his wife.
That's right.
That's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why he didn't testify.
There you go. I like the idea of the guy who wrote this. He really wants, a mother in the household. He should have just, she should have served her entire sentence from home.
It should have all been home
Yes.
confinement. Yes.
That would be ideal for this kind of guy.
A mother belongs in the home for life.
Yes, so we're going to keep her in the home for her horrible crime of
Yeah. Yeah, go
Voter
with
fraud.
go with the 5 years per count, but all home confinement.
yes.
250 years. Never leave.
Yeah. I
Who's
think we
going to do
might
the grocery shopping then?
Yeah, there might be more sentences like that in the future. It's a grim thing, but
Yeah, we're running out of space in the jails.
yeah.
Yeah. Just put a big
And
padlock on the front door.
electronic
from the
surveillance
outside.
is a big business. And
Yeah. Oh my God. They're going to put a lock on the outside of your door that you have no control over. Your house is filled with webcams. This is the future for all of us as more and more normal activities become crimes.
yeah, like podcasting.
People are quick to accept personal credit whenever it advances a noble narrative for the public, and that's fine. I agree. It's just fine. I also don't know what you're saying exactly. But conversely, aside from a scant list of historical heroes, few will accept that consequences for their own wrongdoings also advance a respect for justice. And honestly, think of how much easier it would have been for the Taylor family if they took responsibility and saved taxpayers and themselves the cost of their prosecution. With 2020 hindsight, what might a very large downward variance on a guilty plea be?
What?
So he's going for a fiscal conservative thing here, I guess. Look at all the money they wasted by taking this to trial with a plea of not guilty. I don't know. I mean, without knowing if they were offered any kind of plea deals, I don't know if I can really
yeah.
speculate on, whether they got a better result or not.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I assume they can afford a decent lawyer, right?
Yeah.
They were probably making the best decisions for themselves. You know, with a long recent history of making a lot of bad decisions. I believe a judge for the United States should have directly told the mom that her actions and her actions alone is what is harming her children, and would have achieved both individual and general/public deterrence. I don't know why he's getting in the habit of referring to them as like
general and public deterrence.
The adult son, the adult mom.
The adult mom.
So if the judge had shamed her publicly for harming her children by committing crimes, this would have deterred her from doing the crime again, and also would have been a good example for the public. If you do a bunch of voter fraud, a judge will shame you about the way you're raising your kids.
And also you'll go to prison.
Yeah, if you I think that somebody shaming you for the way you raise your kids is often a deterrent to crime.
Yeah.
Criminals often feel shame about the way that their crimes may reflect on their children.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's being blasted through the media, you know, like, I don't know. It seems like plenty of punishment once again.
Yeah. Instead, I witnessed a judge who didn't do anything wrong himself unnecessarily take some of the burden of the consequences upon his own shoulders and mitigated them. Just like the crime itself, it was well-meaning but detrimental. That is a wild pair of sentences.
Yeah, you know what? I bet you this guy is like the same kind of guy who'd be like complaining about downward variance for January 6th protesters.
Maybe.
Just kidding.
I don't know. I mean, he makes a point of every time he comes up with these like hypothetical potential voter fraud criminals, he says the Trump or Biden campaign.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess
either one.
He's just like a lot of conservatives, very black and white thinking. Like he just wants the sentencing guidelines. They should not deviate from the sentencing guidelines.
A judge should have no discretion.
Someone made those rules for a reason.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a huge fan of mandatory minimums.
Yeah, they must be followed to the letter of the...
Yeah. Criminal justice system should basically just be a computer.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is like the end goal of
another glimpse of the future. A computer confines us all to our homes. Yeah, that's really part of that dark future, is that no human being is involved with your confinement.
Yeah.
Like
there's no human oversight.
A drone comes and installs a lock on the outside of your door.
Yeah.
Drills holes through the outside to place the cameras.
Yeah. And robots come and deliver gruel to your door. There's like a slot.
They put a little slot in the door. Yeah. Just like a prison door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, I don't understand his characterization here of like a judge handing down what he sees as a lenient sentence. Is that the judge taking on the burden himself?
I mean,
is that what the judge is doing when they do something like that?
Not really, but I mean, we talked about it before, that like judges are more concerned about their reputation than maybe some other folks in the judicial system, just because they're there for so long.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, I mean, their decisions obviously do like make big impacts in people's lives and outside of that. So like, I don't know. There needs to be obviously human, like, I mean, it's good that he did a downward variance.
I would say so. Yeah. We need a lot more downward variances, I think, across the board.
I agree. Yeah. But yeah, again, I'm sure there's plenty of situations where he would be complaining that like they weren't lenient enough on someone for doing things that he might be.
Yeah. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing he said, just like the crime itself, it was well-meaning but detrimental. So 52 counts of voter fraud was well-meaning. For who? Well-meaning for her husband, I guess.
Yeah.
She meant well.
Yeah.
To steal an election.
Yeah, she meant well to, you know, vote on behalf of those college students who like
who gave
had no
absolutely
idea.
no consent to do that. Look, it's a moral good for these kids to vote for my husband. It's sort of like the Mormon church, like posthumously baptizing like Holocaust victims.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's well-meaning. That was a crazy analogy.
It is a crazy analogy, but
I would swear to the court that I hear from a large cross-section of citizens, and the shock is only going one way. People thought their individual vote mattered more, and they're shocked it doesn't. And I'm not sure about the relevance to the case
very
there.
Strange article. And this got published in the Sioux City Journal.
Yes, it did. This is part of their Other Voices series. So it's like... I think
Other Voices.
It's in the
another
opinions.
county supervisor.
Yeah,
Someone
right.
we really needed to hear from.
Well, I don't know. I think
Well, I mean, yeah, but like...
this is valuable to get one of his colleagues writing a weird long article in the newspaper about this.
Yeah.
It is very enlightening to the community.
I guess when I think other voices, I'm thinking of like marginalized people or like, you know, people who don't normally get published in the newspaper.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a very broad category. Other voices, just meaning people we don't employ at the Sioux City Journal.
Yeah.
You may be asking, what if it was my wife? Like the Taylors, older generations in my family suffered under communist evil in Vietnam, and my wife is a naturalized U.S. citizen. But I've never been any good at the absentee game. Visiting foreign language households took so much time, whether via my dad's Asian side or my wife's Latin American side. So after a couple attempts during my first campaign, I just gave up, rather than press into something I didn't have a handle on. Is this supposed to reflect well on him?
Yeah, what is this? I just gave up because it was too hard.
Yeah, like honestly, she looks better in comparison to what he just said there. Like, yes, she was taking advantage of them, but you were just like, it's too hard to talk to these guys. I don't care about their votes. I don't care about getting them engaged in the American electoral system. I don't know. There's only so many hours in the day, so like you gotta decide who you're gonna talk to and who to get to vote for you. But you know, your family suffered under communist evil in Vietnam. Like you've got an in there.
Yeah, entirely communist evil. There's no capitalist evil happening in Vietnam.
My family suffered under communist evil. I can explain why the community is puzzled by this sentence. It's not only because of the muted message it sent about consequences, it's because everyone has seen, and I have seen, a lack of remorse throughout the entire ordeal. The defendant faced other naturalized citizens who told the court they would have voted differently, but for her actions, and she argued they made the mistake. Remorse is the only deterrent for the self, and the court failed on that basic function of a sentence.
The court system can't make people feel remorse. That's like a very personal thing.
Yeah, is he suggesting that showing remorse is a prerequisite for getting a more lenient sentence?
I mean, I don't think it is.
Legally, probably not.
No,
but
well, yeah.
I could see how that would influence a judge's
Yeah, I mean,
decision.
yeah, that's something that they probably would consider. But
Yeah, and I don't know. She was defending herself, right? Defending yourself from the charge of a federal crime.
yeah, I mean, again, very serious federal crime. We can we can disagree on whether it should be that serious, but
yeah, it's not good what she did.
it's not good. No.
But it's also more weird than it is like super evil and malicious.
Yeah,
It's not good, but
no, man. She didn't do anything compared to the CEO of Diebold.
like if you're on trial, you got to defend yourself. You can't just be up there saying like, "Oh, you would have voted differently if I had given you more complete information." Well, you can't just say like, "Oh, that's my fault." Trial over. I confess to all of it. It's not how it works. A very large downward variance from the recommended sentence does nothing to deter an impressionable toddler, much less a nation of desensitized adults.
Maybe we're the desensitized adults here.
Maybe.
I mean,
We're probably sounding pretty desensitized right now. A very large downward variance from the recommended sentence does nothing to deter an impressionable toddler. Well, I don't know if an impressionable toddler has much conception
I don't
of
know.
a recommended sentence for their transgressions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if toddlers are really old enough to really understand any of that at all.
Right, yeah. Yeah, what's his suggestion there? How do you discipline a toddler?
I don't know.
You got to be as harsh as possible. Otherwise, they'll never learn. The federal courthouse in Sioux City held a family to a lower standard, and that lower standard is now the precedent for your entire country. That is how precedent works.
I don't think it's precedent for the entire country. Like,
from sea to shining sea. Everyone now knows that if you exploit 52 immigrants and trick them into voting for your husband, you're going to get off with just 4 months in federal prison.
I mean,
it's worth it.
This really just does feel like psychological projection about how, like, a lot of, like most of the voter fraud cases that have been in the news recently have been done by Republicans.
Yeah.
And yet this is basically just like, it wasn't a strong enough warning to prevent people from cheating to vote for Biden. Like, that's literally, that's the entire intent of this article. I don't think he actually gives a fuck about,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do actually literally believe in deterrence, which is hilarious.
I think he's also just very personally frustrated that another member of the Board of Supervisors is like covered in scandals and like doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a big part of it too.
I don't have the story for this pulled up, but I saw a story about, I think she had served time for a felony and like got out of prison and voted. She cast a provisional ballot in 2020, not knowing like that her right to vote had been revoked because of the felony.
Yeah.
And like got charged with some sort of like voter fraud crime because of that. I forget like where this happened or who she was, but somebody recently like got off on that charge because she had no idea like how it was supposed to work. Yeah. And she only cast a provisional ballot too. It's like, it's not even real. Like the whole point of that is like it may or may not be counted. So if you determine that she's not eligible, you don't count the vote.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad she got off then.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have it pulled up, but if you're listening and you're interested, you could probably Google like felony voter provisional ballot acquitted. That'll probably pull it up.
Yeah, they need to develop sentencing guidelines based on the number of votes like cast. Like,
yeah, right.
I think below 50, like it's probably not going to make that big of a difference.
Yeah, you got to keep the
unless you're in the Iowa 3rd District and you're voting for Rita Hart.
Yeah. You got to keep
Miller Meeks.
Keep the turnout in mind. Keep the margin in mind. It's all contextual.
Yeah, like
voter fraud means more in a closer election. Yeah,
actually, they need a mathematical model based on the number of people in that county or whatever, and then they can like weigh it depending on like the the number of people number of votes cast based on how many actual population it is.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, that's the pragmatic, technocratic solution to this.
Which are always good.
Yes, which are always good. You can get away with a little bit of voter fraud.
Mm-hmm. You obviously can.
Yeah. It should just be a fine, just like one vote. Come on.
Yeah. That's basically how it works anyway. If you have enough money, you can get away with doing whatever politically. So, like I said earlier, though, if you're driving up turnout in an election, that makes our democracy look more vibrant and healthy. Yeah. So really, you are doing a public service also.
Yeah.
Like it's not all good. It's not all bad. If you want to legitimize the American electoral system, you got to accept that to pump those numbers up, some of them got to be cheated. Some of it's got to be bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like your Twitter follower count, you got to have at least like 10% bots.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to get to the big leagues,
it's important that you don't block bots immediately when they follow you.
Big tits in bio. I saw that this morning. My favorite one is the ones that just say "look bio."
I'm waiting for look bio.
Look bio.
I'm waiting for like balls in bio.
Yeah, we got to get a little more equality in here.
It's not right.
Yeah, big nutsack in bio. Did you hear about the union ratification at Grinnell College?
I have not.
This is like, I think, the first of its kind. I have an article from the Scarlet and Black, which is the student newspaper at Grinnell. Grinnell College Student Union ratifies historic contract. This is written by Zach Spindler Crage. That's a cool name.
Cool name.
Spindler Crage.
Spindler Crage.
Sounds like a I don't know, maybe like a 70s sort of sleazy action movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Spindler Crage. He don't take shit from nobody.
I think you're gonna say like a 70s prog rock guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that would work too. Spindler Crage, like his like carefully constructed and composed chord progression and like extensive self-indulgent soloing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Some people are really
Spindler
into
Crage Overdrive.
Members of the Union of Grinnell Student Dining Workers officially ratified the first contract in U.S. history to cover all undergraduate student workers. So an undergrad student worker union. I don't think there's any of those.
Yeah.
Aside from this one now.
Interesting.
Yeah, graduate student workers, they have unions, but not undergrad. The vote passed 162 to 1.
Hell yeah.
So they didn't manage to get a unanimous vote like we did with our Angler union drive, but huge numbers. 162 is a lot more than we had, but God, just think about that one person.
Yeah, I know. They got to interview that person.
Yeah. Yeah,
taking a brave stand against the union in favor of management.
The NLRB elections, like a real election, are secret ballots, so they wouldn't know who cast that vote. Yeah. But I bet that student could reveal himself. I bet everyone has an idea of who that one vote was. Grinnell is
my parents paid good money for me to go to this school and have all of the money flow up to administrators.
Grinnell has a reputation as like a very sort of lib progressive campus, right? Like
yes.
Like everyone I know that went there was like a socialist in high school.
Yeah, they have cool bands go and play there and stuff.
Oh, yeah, someone was talking about that. Was that you? Okay. Yes, Allie has seen cool bands
Who
at
did you
Grinnell.
see there? Ice Age. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I like DJ Shadow too.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Somebody else brought it up too. It wasn't just you. I was talking to somebody last night who said that they saw a cool band at Grinnell, but I'm not going to remember it. The historic contract raises the base wage for all student workers to $13.50.
Wow.
Which is
brave.
Not fantastic.
I got $8 an hour when I actually worked at Wartburg College as a special events wait staff.
Nice.
And got paid $8 an hour.
$8 an hour.
Yep.
Hey, that's more than minimum wage.
It is.
You should feel lucky.
Yep.
Okay, so $13.50 is not great, right? However, that's an increase of $5.25, which means they were getting minimum wage.
Yeah, that's
they've almost doubled their wage.
Yeah, that's almost one whole textbook. Like one extra textbook per month.
Yeah. Culmination of over a year and a half of collective bargaining. Jesus. The new contract will apply to all student workers on Grinnell's campus, which is estimated to be between 600 and 700 employees. There's that many people at Grinnell?
Yeah, that's crazy.
They have quotes from Hannah Sweet and Conrad Dahm, who are co-presidents of this union. So congrats to them. They're graduating in 2025 and 2026. These are very young people.
Yeah. Who
organize a nearly unanimous union victory on their campus.
Damn.
Pretty serious.
It's crazy to be out among young people. Like I've spent the weekend in Iowa City.
Yes, and it was a hell of a
weekend to be here for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. I'm old now. I'm like 35.
Yeah.
I'm like almost twice as old as a college freshman.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. Next year you'll be double 18.
Double 18.
How was your time here in Iowa City though? It
was great.
Yeah.
We saw 4 bands on Friday and 4 bands on Saturday. It's chilling.
Did you have a favorite?
The OCs, probably.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't see you after the show was over.
Yeah, no, we went to Gabe's. Saw Palada.
Oh, nice.
Which was very in-your-face Spanish raps.
Nice.
And Free Palestine references. So that was cool.
Good. Yeah. I don't have much else to say about the union. It was just like, it's just good news. So I guess I want to congratulate.
Yeah, we want to try to get some good news on the pod.
Congratulate these young people for organizing their campus. Yeah.
I mean, they are like, cheap labor for, how much tuition. What is tuition?
I mean, Grinnell also has a reputation of being a very expensive school.
Yes, I was going to say, it's got to be like $50,000 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't know the economics of higher education. It seems like a scam to me, but
Yeah, for sure.
oh, wrong. $64,342 for the 2023-2024 school year.
That's per year. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's literally a twice. Like, I think when I went to Wartburg, which was another horrible decision, it was like 30,000, and that was in like 2008,
right. Yeah.
which is still absurd.
64,000 per year. That's like almost $300,000 to go to college.
That's more
right?
than I make in a year.
Well, yeah, me too.
I think that's more than most people make in a year.
Yeah. All right. So congrats to those kids. Here, this is a quote from Corey McCartan, who graduated in 2019. He was the founder and first president of this union. And he wrote a statement. When we started our expansion campaign in the fall of 2017, I was hopeful we would get here, but had no idea how long it might take. There were times when the college's anti-union actions were completely at odds with its core values.
Yep.
Yeah. What a shock.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah. If you feel like you work for some kind of progressive organization or like an employer who really cares about you, you know, if they try to give you that impression, try to start a union.
Yeah.
and see where things go. See
Yeah.
if the attitude changes at all.
Yeah. See if being progressive holds up when there's material interests involved.
Yes.
Often seems to be in conflict with one another, and often seems to go, against the values of progressivism.
Yeah, it really you'll learn some things
Yeah.
from trying to organize in this way.
Yes.
You'll learn some very valuable lessons, I think, about, and you probably already feel this way if you're organizing a union, but
Yeah.
the relationship between employer and employee, between
Yes.
labor and ownership. There's a lot of words for it.
Yeah.
You should read Marx. You shouldn't be listening to us,
Yeah.
really.
Yes. We have a vague understanding of such things.
Yeah. In the end, seeing student union workers, sorry, I'm misquoting, but in the end, seeing student workers win this contract has made me so proud to be a Grinnellian and a former member
Is that
of
what
this
they
great
call it?
union. Grinnellian.
I guess it's better than a Wartburger.
Is that the word for that?
I don't know.
I hope not. Well, I don't know. Wartburger's funny. Wartburger.
I don't have any good memories, so I'm going with Wartburger.
Grinnellian. All right. Well, we've been going for... Oh, shit.
I'm going to ruin the whole thing.
The headphone amp? Okay.
So, yeah. I don't need these headphones. I already
shit.
listened
Yeah,
to the
you know
song.
I forgot we had
You got another clip?
we got
you have
voicemails.
Okay.
We should do that.
Hold
now.
on. I got to put them on.
I was gonna read about the former University of Iowa hospital employee who used a fake identity for 35 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. We should talk about that.
Yeah, maybe we can save it.
Yeah.
Because we've almost filled an hour and I haven't played the voicemails yet. So we should get to the voicemails. If you listen to the show and you would like to speak to us on the show, if you want other people to hear your voice saying things, you can call us at our phone number 319-849-8733, and you can say whatever you want, but know that I have final decision-making power over whether it makes it on the air. So don't say anything that I'm going to think is fucked up. All right? But here's the first one. We got two this week.
What's up, guys? So you were talking about on this latest episode, which love the new theme song, by the way. I'm glad that that's going to be sticking around. I think it's awesome.
Okay, well, that's one
So,
vote in favor of
talking
it.
about tenants and buildings and renting property, apartments, whatever, basically everything that anyone under 30 is doomed to do forever.
Yep.
So the last building that I lived in here in Des Moines, we had, and tell me if this is a common phenomenon. I guess I had never experienced it before, but we, in our building, mostly, apartments where you lease, on a month-to-month basis, and, you sign a lease for 12 months or 15 months or whatever, and then you have some people month-to-month. We also had in the building, managed by the same property company, Airbnbs. So like single night,
Yeah.
like a hotel or an Airbnb where you're paying for, use of a furnished apartment for a single night or a series of single nights, right?
So he said that these are managed by the same property company.
Yes, I've seen this
Okay.
before. It's fucked up. Yeah, like good way to make your tenants hate you for sure.
Yeah, for real. I remember when Airbnb was like expanding like years ago, and there were people who were renting out their own apartment for Airbnb, and how like property management was like cracking down on them for that. And now they're just doing it themselves.
Yeah, they're just doing it themselves. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. If there's money that can be squeezed out of this property.
Yeah, it's
in
way
some
more
way.
lucrative for them to rent out. If they can
Right, yeah.
book it solid, then
Right,
they're
yeah.
making way more money.
Yeah, way more than somebody who actually needs a place to live
Yes.
every day.
And it ruined the building. I mean, we ended up moving out of that building, thank God, but like, it was a mess. Like it was like, you know, families with kids just running all over the place, being crazy. You know, you had people there, just to party, you know, college students coming in to go downtown. Yeah, but like my freaking bike got stolen right out of our hallway I was Halloween Saturday night, like, couple of.
Did you say Halloween?
Yeah,
Is that this? Okay. Halloween bike theft.
it's a spooky night. There's a lot of
That's what happens, man. You got to be careful on Halloween.
yeah. That's the one day you got to secure your belongings the most.
People must have decided that Ubers were too expensive, and they just stole the bikes and took them downtown and left them downtown. I never got it back. But like, you know, vandalism, property getting destroyed, people smoking pot all the time, which, you know, whatever, I'm fine with that. But like, it's still annoying when it's not your neighbors, it's just people
Yeah.
that are vacationing in what is your home, right? I don't know. I am very opposed to it. Interested to hear what you guys' thoughts are on it. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
It sure does. Yeah. There is definitely a difference between your neighbor smoking pot versus
Absolutely, because
somebody
you
who's
can
going to
talk
leave
to
in the
your
morning.
neighbor. You can have
Yeah.
a relationship or rapport with your neighbor.
Right.
But
If it's someone that you live in close
if
proximity
it's someone who's
to,
going to be gone in 2 days, they don't give a fuck.
yeah, they'll be an asshole and have
Yeah,
no
it doesn't matter.
consequences. Yeah. Unless you enact some immediate consequences.
Yeah.
Just narc on them or beat them. You shouldn't do that either. But yeah, that sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an apartment building is not a hotel.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, the lines get blurred.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Ideally, you know, public housing for everyone. Let's abolish real estate as a commodity.
Yeah.
Probably
I mean,
would
me
work out
personally,
better
I
for
live in an
everybody.
unfinished basement in my mother's home, which is working out for me pretty
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I would say. But I did try, I was looking, I mean, I'm still on the market a little bit for a new place to live. And I did join like a Facebook group for like Des Moines tenants, which is just, there's not really a whole lot of activity on there that
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah.
And it's,
Is the purpose to like organize or something?
well, it's not explicitly like a political organization or anything, but it's like who you should avoid, you know.
Right. Which
But
is
I
also
think
very valuable.
it is definitely valuable, and I think there's definitely a lot of Bruce Allen.
I've heard that name.
Bruce Allen asks landlords in Des Moines. So, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And if you've ever made any attempt to like influence the decisions of a local government, if you've attended any of those meetings, you see how much of their time is taken up by just rubber stamping everything that property managers want to do. So yeah, the political will is 100% on the side of the people who own the buildings and not the people who have to suffer under their awful decisions.
100%.
Yeah, so any attempt to, keep everybody informed of like how bad certain buildings are versus others, and to know your rights and also to be able to like have those rights, because that's a huge problem too. Is like there are tenant protections that are violated every day and nothing ever happens.
Yeah,
because the people who are violating the law own all the buildings.
Yeah, and the people that they're renting to don't have the ability or means to defend themselves.
Yeah. The property owner has a whole bunch of money and like can threaten to do whatever they want, even if it is illegal. And there's very little recourse for the people they're threatening and throwing out on the streets and all that.
Yeah.
I think the caller said, "I think that sucks." Is that right, or did you say that?
I think it sucks.
I think it sucks. That's the takeaway from that one. I think it sucks.
Agreed.
The whole thing, I think it sucks. Here's the other voicemail. It's much shorter.
Hi, Rock Hard Caucus. This is Richard from a neighboring state. So I was hanging out with the Nebraska Sword Fighters Guild last night and heard them talking some shit on an overly aggressive sword fighter who is also a sore loser, by the way, and he was from Iowa. So I just thought I'd call and pass on this petty regional beef.
Oh, talking shit on Iowa sword fighters, huh?
That's the most random phone call we've gotten.
Those are our boys.
More
How
of that,
dare you?
please. Yeah.
How dare you talk shit about our sword fighters?
Our sword fighters are the most aggressive in the continental United States.
Yeah, you're just fucking you're a sore loser because our aggressive Iowa sword fighters kick your ass. I will never ever take your side against the Iowa sword fighting community.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't heard of any good Nebraskan sword wielders.
Yeah, did he say it was in Nebraska?
Yeah, he said it
sword
was
fighting
Nebraska.
Okay. I thought I heard him say Arrakis.
I know that's a Dune thing.
Yeah, from Dune.
I'm very limited on my Dune knowledge.
Dune is
Watch the first one.
Arrakis is like the colonizer name for the planet Dune.
Yeah.
So the Arrakis Sword Fighting Guild is talking shit about Iowa sword fighters. Yeah, well, I heard your planet got taken over by the indigenous people doing a jihad. So don't talk to me about who's good at sword fighting. If you, again, our phone number 319-849-8733. If you'd prefer to send us physical objects in the mail, you got to be careful about that. Don't send anything illegal. I don't want any contraband in my P.O. box.
Yeah,
that'll get you and me in trouble.
When I got to Justin's house, there's a copy of Perry Johnson's 2 Cents to Save America on the couch.
Yes. Thank you again to Micah for sending that to us.
Your coffee table book.
Well, you remember I got 2 copies. I bought one myself and then we got one in the mail.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just giving you your copy.
Oh, that's my gift for doing the podcast.
That's right. That's what I pay you in. Books that someone mailed to us.
Yeah.
It's your compensation.
Yeah. Shit.
So if you want Evan to receive any compensation for contributing to the podcast, you can mail things to me that I will give to him at P.O. Box 5336, Coralville, Iowa 52241. Do you have anything going on that you want to plug? I got a couple things here.
No, I think whatever you got is good. Good with me.
Cool. Well, it's good to see you in Iowa City.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
I hope you guys
Thanks
have a good drive
for hanging out
back.
with us. Yeah, it was fun. Fun for sure.
Yeah. Here's some things going on in the Iowa City area that I would like our listening audience to know about. The University of Iowa is shutting down the rape victim advocacy program. Very different.
Yes. Careful.
Rape victim advocacy program, which, as the name implies, helps a lot of victims of sexual violence in Iowa City, on campus, and in the surrounding area. They're shutting that program down, moving all of their grants and their services over to the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, which does also good work to help a lot of people. But, they're laying off 12 full-time staff, or maybe not 12 full-time, but 12 staff.
Yeah,
at
that's...
RVAP. You're not going to make up for that.
Right?
These are people who have been doing this stuff for a while, have established relationships with people who are very vulnerable,
in need of the services that they provide. Like,
you're not going to just snap your fingers and move that all to another place with a bunch of other people. This is damaging. You're doing a lot of bad shit by making this decision. So people are upset about that, rightly so. There's going to be some kind of protest at the Pentacrest Saturday, April 13th at 1 p.m. to express disagreement with the university's decision here.
What is the reason? Is it just they don't want to pay people, or is it like they think that it's bad PR to even have such a organization?
I don't know. The location of the RVAP building is right next to a bunch of frat houses.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I mean,
yeah. I mean, this certainly
there
is
definitely
not going to
a vital
improve the public
need
image,
for
right?
These things in Iowa City,
for sure. Yes.
Yeah,
we've
absolutely
heard lots of stories.
Yeah.
I have things that I would allege that maybe aren't a good idea to say right now about why they made this decision. But anyway, the protest Saturday, April 13th, 1 p.m. at the Pentacrest. I don't know what's going to happen at that protest, but you should be upset about this. You should probably be there and support the people who've been laid off and protest the bad decision. There's also another trial coming up this week that I'm going to try to attend some of. Local, I'll just use a broad term, local activist Ajax, who, if you're part of that community, you probably know who he is. He is on trial this week for some charges stemming from last year's Matt Walsh protest. He had nothing to do with marbles. These are other charges. His trial begins Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Johnson County Courthouse. It would be good for people to be there and then to support him through this thing. Community presence and support was important at Tara's trial, and I think it would be a benefit here as well. And just not necessarily related, but if you know anybody who's maybe been called for jury duty this week, maybe good to check in with them, ask them what they know about their rights as a juror. Maybe talk about like what do you feel like conversations you might have with people interviewing you about whether you're going to be seated on the jury.
Yeah.
What questions do you anticipate? How do you expect to answer those questions?
Yeah.
What's your role as a juror?
Have you ever been called up for jury duty?
Yeah, like right when I turned 18.
Oh, really?
I got a summons for jury duty. It's maybe not called a summons, but I called in and they were like, yeah, you don't have to come in.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I got one in the mail once, and yeah, it was like, yeah, I think you had to call in, and I also didn't actually have to go.
Yeah, I didn't even have to show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe familiarize yourself, your friends, your family with the concept of jury nullification. Understand that your conscience does have a role in every decision you make in your life.
Yeah.
Including if you're a juror.
Yes.
Yeah. Be aware. Be aware of who you are and what you believe in. Mandy Remington's running for Johnson County Board of Supervisors. The Democratic primary is June 4th. I think she's worth supporting. Mandy4supervisor.com is her website. That's the number 4, Mandy4Supervisor. The primary is June 4th. And because this is Johnson County, whoever wins the Democratic primary is nearly guaranteed to win the general. So
yeah,
it would be beneficial
barring
for you
another zany Iowa City scandal. That's how we found your house, by the way, was the yard
sign. Yeah, I do have a sign in the yard. Don't use that to dox me. Don't do anything weird to my house.
That's not actually. I've been here before. So.
We have a Patreon if you like the podcast and would like to hear more of it and would like to spend money on podcasts like a weirdo. Patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. I say that as somebody who spends money on podcasts. Yeah, I spend money.
I just...
we're weirdos.
We are weirdos, for sure. Again, that's why we're podcasters.
Yeah.
That's what you do. I could, have a job where I actually had an impact on society at large instead of whatever desk jockey shit I do.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and now I'm a podcaster instead.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's my contribution to the world.
People do listen to this.
Yeah.
And they do like us.
That's crazy. It's good. I'm glad to do it. It's fun.
If you listen and you like us and you have money that you can spare, we would appreciate that, but no pressure.
Yeah.
We're working on a series reviewing Slipknot albums right now.
I usually don't listen to episodes of the podcast anymore. I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I have not actually listened to the Chapo episode that we were on.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to go back and I think in the next month I'll probably listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
What was I lost my train
I was talking about the Slipknot series.
Oh, yeah. I listened to the one with we did with Teddy,
mm-hmm.
And it's really fun.
Yeah, it's great.
So
that's on the Patreon. Bay Not Me Slippin' #1 is the episode with Teddy where we reviewed the Slipknot self-titled 1999 album. Iowa's up next. We have guests lined up. I just need to do the research so we can record it. And Speed Freak, Read Speak, the Sonic the Hedgehog series, episode 21 will be out soon. Tony and I are recording that this week. Okay, closing music. We're going to close with the new Boot Camp single. It's called Will Be Free.
Nice.
And if you go to the, I didn't put the link in my Google Doc, but that's on the Bandcamp page for Pokey's Records in Iowa City. If you buy the single there, all the money that they get through that is going to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. So that would be a good thing for you to spend money on as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Give it to that instead of us.
For sure.
And if you got like a nickel left over afterwards.
Yeah. I like that you send out the monthly updates, and it always has the disclaimer at the end that if you want any of our content for free, then just email you.
Yeah, that's true. If you are desperate for content and you have no money, reach out to me. I got plenty of content. I can hook you up. All right, that's the show. That's Rock Hard Caucus, episode 143. I didn't say it at the top. We're inching closer to 150.
Yeah, we're
milestone.
inching closer to 5 years.
That's true also.
Which is insane. And I think we should do like some kind of retrospective. Because I was thinking about OPAC. I haven't thought about OPAC for a long time. But that was like probably the peak of the peak of the podcast.
Yeah.
That was the most fun episode I think we've ever recorded. And had the most immediate reaction.
Yeah.
See, that's the work that we're doing, is where if you're going to start a Democratic PAC to like just basically say that abortions are bad.
Yeah.
And like whatever, like then we're coming for you.
Yeah. And I will look at the financial statements for your PAC. I'm sorry. That is public information. And doing that is not discouraging women from entering politics.
No. Your organization
Sorry, this is years
was
old beef
stupid
now.
and bad, and it had a negative effect.
This is years old beef now. Before we continue down that path, we should just stop recording.
Okay, yeah.
All right. All right. Thanks, Evan. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Allie. Thanks, Ashley.
Hey.
Okay. Good night.
What